underprivileged women in our effort to give them with a more fruitful and empowered life. We look to partner with like-minded individuals, corporates, NGOs as we grow and continue to do good. If you'd like to partner with us, please connect with us on our social media channels or on email pavitraventures@gmail.com. We also offer services for all religious and festive occasions. We are now live on Instagram and Facebook at Pavitra Connect. Please do follow us for all the latest updates on our meditation sessions, webinars, seminars, product and service launches, and Pavitra Music. We're also live on YouTube. We have a channel at Pavitra Connect. Please subscribe to that channel for Pavitra Music, which is sure to enlighten and lift your soul. We also use Pavitra on YouTube for our live streaming. This evening is the second of our web series, Pavitra Salute, where we want to honor people who are making a difference to society, right from the armed forces and from the civil world. Today, it is our honor and privilege to introduce Dr. Radhakrishna Das, who has been serving humanity at large for the last 35 years. More visibly in the last 20 years, 2 decades, he has been the guiding light and founder of the Annamrita Foundation. Dr. Das, we believe that you are a dentist by profession, and you are someone who gave up that flourishing career to do service to society at large. You went from someone who gave people to something to chew with, and now you gave them something to chew on. So please tell us about yourself.
Thank you, Chetan. And I'm grateful to Pavitra for inviting me here, for giving me an opportunity to speak a few words. Indeed, Pavitra itself is doing a great job. They are introducing people to a very sattvic lifestyle and arranging so many programs. And I believe now they're going to be coming up with products. And what I like the most is they're going to be supporting Annamrita. That is really wonderful. And we thank each and every one who is out there in the family of Pavitra for this wonderful opportunity. So Chetan, your question about my being a dentist. Really, I'm not sure whether I am a dentist or I was a dentist. Because to give you a short background, I was born in the year 1946 in Karachi. And when I was only 1 year old, my parents brought me to Mumbai. And like lakhs of other refugees who came from that part of the country to this part of the country, my family and me, we went through many hardships. We stayed in refugee camps. Since I was only 1 year old, I don't have any memories of all these things. But what I have heard from my parents, my brother, who was then 6 years older to me, when he saw the barracks where we were supposed to stay, he's asking my mother, are not these the stables where our horses were kept? Because my great-grandfather was the Rai Sahib of Karachi. We had the privilege of having 2 palatial bungalows, one for the summer and one for the winter. And it is said, if there was a wedding in our family, the electricity to the rest of Karachi was cut off.
Wow.
So those were the days my parents saw. And having come to this situation, in spite of all the circumstances, what they managed to do, and very well, is they gave all 3 of us, me, my brother, and my sister, they gave us the best of education. Why am I saying this? Because today, we are feeding children in the midday meal project to make sure that they get a good education. Because from my own life, I know and I understand what is the value of education. So that brought us to the platform of, becoming a professional. I set up 2 clinics in the suburbs, and I was practicing very well after having graduated from the Nair Hospital Dental College. But still there was some sort of a vacuum in the life. In spite of practicing, in spite of earning money. So at the age of 33, I had this wonderful opportunity of coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books. When I read these books, and when those who had read these books explained things to me, for the first time in my life, I got an opportunity to understand who am I. For the first time, I got an opportunity to understand who is God. What is the relationship between us and God? I came to know that He is our loving Father and we are His children. Never before had anybody explained to me about God like this. We thought that God is somewhere in an unknown place and He perhaps doesn't even know that we exist. I came to know by reading these books why bad things happen to good people. And the questions that came to my mind, which I think should come to every person's mind, the question was, where have I come from? Where do I have to go? Is there life after death? Or does life end at death? Is there one God? Or are there many gods? And if there is a God, where is He? Millions of questions like this. I had the quest. I was burning from inside. And this turmoil somehow brought me in contact with the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. That is where I got all the answers. I understood the true meaning of welfare work. Do you know how it was explained to me about welfare work? A beautiful story.
Please share.
I was told that there is a very rich man, a multi-millionaire, and his son has somehow been separated from him. And this son has now become a pauper on the street. Someone would come and give him a meal. Someone would come and give him some medicine when he was sick. Someone would come and give him clothes to cover himself. Another person would come and give him shelter during rain. One person came and recognized him. And he said, you are the son of so-and-so? What are you doing on the streets here? Come, let me take you back to your father. So all of them did some welfare work. But who did the best welfare work? Obviously, the person who took the boy back to his father. All his problems will be solved by just one connection. So I understood from Srila Prabhupada's books, we are all children of God and we have somehow been separated from Him. And the goal of our life should be to somehow get reconnected to Him. We already have a connection, but it is forgotten, but we need to be reconnected. So, with all these answers in place, I understood one thing, that the goal of my life is going to be to re-establish my connection with God. At last, at the age of 40, I decided to take a bold step. So, I was born in 46, as I told you. At the age of 40, I took this bold step. At the in the year 1986. I had started practice at the age of 21. By now, I had completed 18 years of successful practice. In one sense, that was the peak of my career. But I thought, enough of putting my fingers in people's mouths for running my earning. Let me now go out there and see there is much more I can do besides this. Hence, my quest got me connected to ISKCON, and I dedicated my life for the service of humanity. Within ISKCON, my first assignment was that I should go to our center in West Virginia, USA, where I went along with my wife, Palika Mataji, and my then 4-year-old daughter, Madhurya, who is right now in front of us. We stayed there for 2 years and then returned to Mumbai in 1987 to take on other responsibilities. So this has been my journey from where I was. In the year 2004, I was given the assignment of starting the midday meal project under the banner of the then ISKCON Food Relief Foundation. That is how this project has come into being.
That was fascinating, Dr. Das. Thank you for sharing. And I think, at an age when most people are looking to further their career, you took an extremely bold step to dedicate yourself to humanity. And I'm sure you made a difference. So we appreciate that. But also very interesting to know about Anamrita. Can you tell us in brief about the project and what it is and how did it all come about and where we are today?
Yes. So this project, as I told you at that time, was known as the ISKCON Food Relief Foundation, which is now re-christened as Anamrita Foundation. It was about feeding children in school. Now this was very interesting for us because in the year 1986, Srila Prabhupada was once taking a walk along the street, and at the corner of the street where generally we throw our leftover food and it is a dustbin where all sorts of things go into, he saw some children were trying to get food out of the leftovers which were put there, and they had to fight with dogs to get that small piece of roti. This brought tears to his eyes, and out of compassion, he gave us an instruction. He said, wherever I have centers, no one in the range of 5 miles should ever go hungry, surely not any child. What a tall order. What a goal he has set. But we did take baby steps. We knew that this may not be possible to accomplish, but we had to make a beginning somewhere. So in the year 2004, while we were working with Times of India on various projects for developing the skills of children during the summer holidays, and once the summer holidays came to an end, the group in the Times, which was headed by Basanti Roy, she was the education inspector for South Mumbai. So she casually asked me, Prabhuji, this summer camp is coming to an end, but we would like to associate with you for some long-term project. And it came to my mind that yes, we would like to do the government's midday meal project. Let me tell you something about the midday meal project of the government. Children who are supposed to be going to school sometimes are not sent to school by their parents in a certain socio-economic group. Because the parents feel that instead of sending my child to school, why not send him out to do some work, some menial job? He'll earn something and that will add to the income of the family. So with this in mind, parents were reluctant to send children to school. But the government of India realized that these children, if they are not educated at this age, their future will be very, very glim. So in order to encourage them to come to school to get educated, they decided to give them food in school so that the child will be attracted by the food. He will come to school and in the process get educated. But in the initial days, government was doling out dry ration. And this would happen only once in a month. So the smart kid would find out what is the day he would go to school on that day. And then again, bunk school for the rest of the days. So then, to a PIL filed in the Supreme Court, a judgment was passed that cooked meals had to be provided in schools. Easier said than done. For the judge, it was just a stroke of the pen. But can you imagine? More than 1 crore of children around the country who come from these municipal and government aided schools, suddenly they have got to be provided with cooked meals? Who's going to do this? And obviously the brunt fell upon the teachers. Now look at this scenario. The teacher has to go out to the market, buy the ingredients, cook the meal, serve it to the children, clean the place. Where is the time to teach? So the teachers, instead of performing their primary duty of teaching, were becoming involved in procuring, cooking, and providing meals to the children. So this is where NGOs like ISKCON Food Relief Foundation came into the picture. So we were requested to set up a kitchen, a dedicated kitchen, cook the meals there, and send it out to the schools during lunch hour in our dedicated vehicles, arrange for serving the meals, and the children would thus not only get the nutritious meal, but will now also be able to pay attention to what is being taught to them, because earlier on an empty stomach, it is not so easy to concentrate. This is how the midday meal project was started in the year 2004.
Excellent. And Prabhuji, is there some sort of a visual of the kitchen and stuff that we have? I believe you have something to show us there on.
Yes. Before I do that, I would like to tell you the journey. This was only the beginning in the year 2004.
The early days, how did it all begin and what was it like? That would be very interesting to know as well.
So initially, I was given a free hand by my authorities to start this project, initiate it, and as they call it, to your own satisfaction, you grow it as much as you want, to your heart's content. I approached the schools. I approached the municipal commissioner, then, and he said, okay, we will give you a pilot project. We will give you 5 schools. Total number is 5,000. You please start. Please understand one thing. When you go to meet these officials, you have to take split-second decisions in front of them. You cannot say, let me go back to my board and come back and tell you. It doesn't work that way. So I said yes. And then came back to my board. And I got the flack. I said, do you understand? They said, what it means to cook 5,000 meals every day and to distribute? You must have gone mad to say yes. I said, okay, now what should we do? I wanted them to feel good that they are the decision makers. They said, okay, you do it in phases. Don't take all 5,000 at a time. I said, great. So I went back and told them, then I will take one school at a time, and every other day I will add one more school. But I must say one thing. I could do this only because of the encouragement I received from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He had this vision and he gave me his blessings. And with all my colleagues on one side who did not want me to do this, just that one hand on my head was enough to take the bold step. And lo and behold, in the very first year, from 900 students on the first day, we reached the figure of 13,000. The rest is history. We set up 22 kitchens. And today, we are serving more than 12 lakhs, more than 1.2 million meals every day.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic.
This is what you're doing every day. I would now like you to see a video, a visual about how our kitchens work.
Please.
Pavani, can we have that video, please? That is the preparation, cutting and chopping of the vegetables. You see these huge pumpkins being cleaned and cut.
This does look like a state-of-the-art facility, Dr. Das.
So it is. It is an ISO certified kitchen. The ingredients are added. You see this one pot. This one pot cooks 600 kilos of khichdi at a time in 45 minutes.
Wow. And is this customized for your foundation, or how did this pot
It is customized for our foundation and is customized by our foundation.
Wow. Kudos. Very
This, Chetan, is the tadka which is being prepared. You see this big bartan, like a boat.
Yes.
At home, we have a small vati for giving tadka.
Right.
Here, 10 kilos of oil is added and all the spices are added. They are cooked together. And when they are ready, in that big vessel where the khichdi is being cooked, you will see now this will be tumbled into that. And then it will be, see, this is the tadka.
Amazing.
You know, when you say tadka marke, this is how it comes.
No, but it's amazing to see, the masks and the gloves and the hygiene standard. It's very, very nice to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, we are an ISO certified kitchen and we follow all these rules.
Very nice.
Once the khichdi is cooked, it is stirred so that every grain absorbs these spices in it. And very soon we will see how it is packed. This is the outlet for the khichdi to come out from. And through this outlet, these are the containers in which we send them to the schools. You see this flowing khichdi?
Yes.
It is flowing because at this stage, it is just cooked and it is still liquid. Because of the starch in the rice, as time goes, this will set and it will become very edible. Each and every container is sealed.
Wow.
This is for the safety. And if any container which reaches the school, if the seal is broken, our challan says, please do not accept it. We will replace it with another sealed container. And one thing about these seals, they're different colors. There is a color coding. And this kitchen of ours is on the first floor. So this trolley full of the containers with the seals, you can see the trolley is going down by the lift. And then a forklift comes, picks up the entire trolley, and it goes towards the vehicle where the containers are loaded in the vehicle. There the forklift is taking it to the vehicle. Now these containers will be loaded in the vehicle and it is ready to go to the schools.
Unbelievable. And how many such vehicles, Dr. Das, do you use for delivering all these lakhs of meals that you do every day?
Well, I am talking about Mumbai. We have got 25 vehicles. These are dedicated vehicles which go to the schools. They deliver the meals and they bring back the empty containers. And those empty containers are then washed, sanitized, and the next day they are used again.
Truly, truly amazing to see, Dr. Das. So, Dr. Das, besides doing such amazing things for the school children through the midday meal program, we do believe that you also have a service for the indoor patients in hospitals. It'd be very interesting to hear about that work that your foundation is doing.
Yes. The municipal commissioner was very happy with our work for the midday meal scheme. So they proactively approached us and they asked us that the standards of cooking in our municipal hospitals, because the contracts are given by tender, and these contractors are more interested in making a quick buck rather than giving a nutritious meal to the patient. So he asked us if we would be willing to provide meals to the indoor patients of municipal hospitals. So we studied the project, we went and did our homework. They gave us a very nice space of 5,000 square feet on the ground floor of Cooper Hospital. And we set up a beautiful kitchen there. When we come to the slideshow, I will show the kitchen in Cooper Hospital over there. And the then Chief Minister, Devendra Fadnavis, personally came to inaugurate that kitchen. The equipment for that kitchen was sponsored by Suman Ramesh Tulsiani Trust. And of course, Mr. Ajay Piramal gave us full support for setting up this kitchen.
And he's also your trustee. Mr. Piramal is also a trustee of the foundation. Dr. Das, the number of meals that you do on a day-to-day basis, I think it's nothing short of extraordinary. And you cater to lakhs of students who actually depend on, your meal, and their education depends on your meal. So, what are the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis? It's such a responsibility that you've taken on yourself. Please share with us some of the challenges and how you deal with this.
Every day brings a new challenge. And every challenge brings a new opportunity. That is how we have been taking all the challenges in our stride. And as you rightly said, there are challenges galore. But our determination, the fact that we have taken the responsibility to feed the children, we cannot skip any meal or a day. But in spite of the challenges, we have kept going for the last 15 years. And we continue to serve these children and give them a wonderful meal, which is nutritious, which is hygienically prepared, and which brings them to school so that they can get educated. So this is enough for us to face the challenges. And of course, I have a single line motto for any challenge that comes in my life. I say to myself and I say to my colleagues, He has brought me to this, and he will see me through this.
Nice. Maybe we can all imbibe that motto in our lives and overcome challenges as we come along with them and learn.
Chetan, do we have a choice?
No.
Let me tell you one thing. I started off by saying that we are all children of God.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Can you imagine a 2-year-old toddler trying to cross a busy Bombay city road with the heavy traffic? Each time he takes one step forward, he takes 2 steps backwards. Else, he might meet with an accident. And what does he do? All he does is he goes home, asks his father if he'll help him cross that busy street. The father comes out, and all the child has to do is hold the finger of his father, and it is a smooth journey across the road. God is our Father. All we have to do is hold his finger, and in this heavy trafficked world of our life, we will sail through very easily if we just hold on to his finger and have faith that he will see us through this.
That's an amazing way that you put it, Dr. Das. I'm sure it opens up your mind to put your point across. I really appreciate the way you put that across. Thank you so much. My next question is, Anamrita has provided 1 crore 60 lakh meals. I think that's nothing short of, unbelievable to even migrant workers during the COVID crisis. Fantastic work. Share with us some challenges, share with us some experiences from this endeavor that you have embarked on in the last few months.
When this lockdown 4 ended on 8th June, and then what has started is the unlock 1. So till that date, as you rightly said, from the beginning of the lockdown, we had served 1 crore and 60 odd lakhs of meals. Chetan, you said that it is a very difficult task, but I am saying it is none short than a miracle.
Yeah, sure.
You know the circumstances under which we are working? There is no public transportation. There is no supply of raw materials. Where will our workers stay? How will they come to the kitchen? How will they do the work? I mean, it's a mind-boggling logistical challenge. But we were able to do this only because we understood one thing very clearly. We had our kitchens, which were well equipped, and we had the entire infrastructure. We had the know-how. We had the ability. We had the experience of cooking, period. Even if we cook tons and tons of khichdi, it will be of no use to anyone until and unless it reaches them. So first of all, even to cook such huge quantities of khichdi, we need financial support. So we got this support from sponsors who came forward and they said, yes, we will support this and we will pay for the cost that it takes to cook tons and tons of khichdi. Even with the support financially and even with our ability to cook, the khichdi will not reach the recipient. So we needed the third leg of the project, and perhaps the most important and the backbone of the project, and that was distribution. We were already in touch with the Rotary clubs. In fact, the Rotary Club of Mumbai Queen's Necklace has single-handedly sponsored that beautiful kitchen which you saw on the video. entirely by them and by getting a global grant for that to the tune of 6 crore rupees. They have invested in setting up that kitchen. And because we were already connected with them, my friend, Rotarian Sanjeev Mehta, who was the then president when he set up this kitchen, he came forward and said, if you are willing to cook, and if there are people who are willing to sponsor, then I'm willing to distribute. Now, he has an amazing network. He has a network with Giants clubs, Lions clubs, YMCAs, and I have another friend, Onali Rupani. Now, Onali Rupani is doing a lot of good work in the suburbs, in the slums of Malwani. He has set up schools. He is helping schools in getting their stuff done. So he has a very terrific network in that area. With these two gentlemen as my right and left hand, I was able to reach out to the last mile to the extent that in Malwani, where there are 40,000 families staying there, we made arrangements that volunteers would go home to home and distribute the meal. Because if we set up a table there, and if everybody came out to grab that, you can imagine what that scenario would be. It would become a law and order situation. So he spread the word through his volunteers that no one will come out of their homes, but we will reach them. And that fantastic network of 70 volunteers which he has over there. Now just imagine, we are situated at Mahul. Except the cooks, the branch manager and the supervisor, there is no one else over there. We are all locked down in our homes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had to micromanage this with a remote control. In fact, the person who was coordinating the entire logistics on behalf of the Rotary Club, Mr. Rohan, he was sitting in Dubai. My CEO, Gorakshnath Gambhire, was sitting in Nasik. That is where they were when the lockdown was announced. They could not move out. So Rohan would get the requirements from Sanjeev Mehta's team, in which area, how many containers are required. And similarly, there are other teams, the Art of Living team. They would give their requirement. And all this would go to Gorakshnath Gambhire on our side. He would collect that data and give it to Ashwini. She is sitting in Parel. She will make a database, a sheet, and send out the details to each kitchen. So some will go from Mahul, some will go from Mira Road, some will go from Wada, and some will go from Cooper. All this has to happen overnight because next day morning the meals have to be prepared and sent out. So in the evening, when they receive the feedback from the volunteers, they decide how many containers are required for the next day. And this entire exercise happens seamlessly overnight, and next day morning, the information of the respective kitchen is given to the cooks that this is the material you need to cook, this is the quantity you need to cook, these are the number of containers you need to pack. And then these volunteers would arrange vehicles to reach the kitchen to pick up these containers, take it to the destination, unload it at one place as a depot. From there, their second line of volunteers would take, then the third line, and the last mile meal would reach that one person. Can you imagine, to get that one morsel of khichdi, how much is going on behind the scenes?
It's unbelievable, Prabhuji. This is, this is a Harvard case study that needs to be made, because I think that the challenges that we've overcome, and I run a food business in my commercial life. We can't get certain products into our restaurants even today after the lockdown has ended. and you've done 1.6 crore meals in different parts of the country. It's unbelievable, and really kudos to your team and yourself.
May I request Pavani now to please put on the PPT? This is the impact report we are showing you here. You can see who are our beneficiaries: the children, the old, the homeless, the street dwellers. We can go to the next slide, Pavani. And of course, the mission and vision of Anamrit is that the food which we prepare and serve is pure as nectar. That is how we have this name, Anna and Amrit. So food which is as good as nectar, which is cooked with that motherly love. No one else can give you food like nectar, not even a 7-star hotel. It is the ingredient of love which is added to that preparation at the time of cooking, which makes it nectar. Next slide, Pavani. So we have these 22 kitchens. We have a spread in 7 states: Andhra Pradesh, Delhi, Haryana, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and West Bengal. So as we all know, we started this in the year 2004, and through Anamrit in the midday meal school project, we have served 3 billion meals to the children in 7 states. Next slide. These we saw in the video, but these are some of the still pictures of how the cooking is done, the preparation is done. All this is supervised, and there is a complete log which is maintained as to who did what at what time and what are the ingredients he used. So it is not only during the distribution that we had a monitoring, but even while it was being cooked, it was being monitored. Next. Pavani. This is the hospital kitchen we are talking about at Cooper Hospital. You see there at the bottom, the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is inaugurating this project, and you have some slides of the kitchen, the same standard of cleanliness, hygiene, absolutely spick and span. Next slide, please. We are now talking about the Project Karuna, where we are distributing meals during the COVID lockdown. We were battling the pandemic 1 meal at a time. Next. As I told you, we had 3 different areas where we were providing the meals. One was to the migrant labor and the man in the street. One was to the hospital staff and the doctors. They are our soldiers in the field, and they did not have any access to meals. And thirdly, the municipal staff, those who were going for emergency duties every day during the lockdown, they had no access to any meals. So we had these 3 programs parallelly running, and we provided meals to them. Next. These are the donors and the distributors without whom we could not have done anything. We are grateful to them. We are thankful to them. And the salute which we are giving today actually goes to all of them. Next, please. These are some pictures from the Karuna project, how it was being distributed. Wherever it was being distributed outside their homes, we were trying and maintaining social distancing. There has been a very nice arrangement by the police and the home guards in helping us in this regard, and we are grateful to them also. Next. Here is the qualitative impact. Because we have had the experience of cooking meals for the children. We used the same recipe, so we could provide the same nutrition during these trying times. And especially the children who are there between the age of 6 and 12. If they do not receive this nutritious meal, you can imagine the lockdown went on for so long. If continuously they are deprived of the nutrition, it can have lifelong effect on their health. So yes, we did provide very qualitative nutritious meals. It had 450 calories of energy and 12 grams of protein. Next, please. And what was the social impact? We are told that there were less domestic violence because that anxiety of preparing and getting the meal was not there on the minds of the husband and the wife. The children did not go hungry, and they were also provided these nutritious meals. So overall, for the entire family, it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Next, please. Here is the quantitative. The number of meals that we served in Mumbai region during this period was 42 lakhs, 98,280. In Maharashtra, 84 lakhs, 55,325. And on all India basis, 1 crore, 66 lakhs, 72,815 meals. Next, Pavni.
That is amazing, Dr. Das. Just to see those numbers are staggering. I think people...
So we wish to thank everyone who has made it possible for us to bring this for the entire city of Mumbai, every needy person. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Something that you mentioned during your, while you were reading those slides, the fact that there was a reduction in domestic violence and the social impact of just providing a meal. I think that's very profound to understand the impact of the work you're doing and how it's really making an impact on society. So that's really, really very interesting to know.
Pavni, we have a video clip from On Ali Rupani. Can you please play this for us now?
Hello everybody. Divinity in me bows to divinity in all of you. It has been my good fortune that I have been associated with ISKCON Food Relief Foundation, which is now known as Annamrit Foundation, and especially Radhakrishna Prabhuji, who is a pioneer for this project. The call of duty arose again when the pandemic started, and Prabhuji was very quick to respond to the call or the SOS that we got from the Asia's second largest slum, that was Malwani, which has even lower per capita income than Dharavi, and especially in an area called Ambujwadi where people lived in shanties. These people are not even migrant laborers. They don't have any village to fall back on. They are the people who are the product of slums of Mumbai. And there are over 40,000 families inhabitant there in shanties, and we had to quickly respond. Under the guidance of Prabhuji, we were able to quickly gather all the school principals in that area, their teaching staff, non-teaching staff, especially their ex-students who had high immunity levels. They sprung up very quickly, and we decided an innovative model of giving khichdi home to home. Because when people came out, the social distancing laws were broken, and it was very difficult to handle them, and the virus would have spread. So this was very smart thinking, and Prabhuji approved this model, which was very innovative, scalable, efficient and effective. As a result, what we did, we trained all these 70-80 volunteers and helped them with masks and gloves, explained them the concept of social distancing, and they followed it to the T. I would lie in saying that social distancing can be easily followed in a shanty, in a place which is so dense. but they really followed these norms meticulously, because we had a morning service call before they made the service and an evening service call after they made the service. The police authorities helped us. They gave us a good amount of support. This project was very unique for a couple of reasons, that none of these volunteers were infected with virus. None of the families that whom we provided this delicious nectar-based khichdi that we call were infected with virus. None of these 3,000 families migrated from that particular place. So this is a big achievement in my eyes, and it was only possible because of the guidance of Prabhuji, the unconditional service of these COVID warriors, and the unconditional giving gestures of the donors. And I'm very thankful to all of them for including me in this project, and especially Prabhuji for this opportunity. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Pavani, can we have Sanjeev Mehta's clip now?
Friends, I represent the Rotary Club of Mumbai Queen's Necklace. We had launched a project, Feed All in Need, which coincided with Annamrita's project Karuna for serving khichdi. From a humble 1,000 meals or khichdi's per day, we went up to 1,60,000 khichdi's per day, spread over 75 days of all the 4 lockdowns. Prabhuji and his team have mastered the art of khichdi so well that even the 4 largest caterers of Mumbai from whom we tried to source could not match the taste quality of the khichdi, and in fact used Prabhuji's recipe eventually. Friends, in COVID times, to motivate your staff to keep coming when people are even scared to step out of the house, to keep serving, to work through the night so that in the early morning food is ready, to provide the same quality, nourishment, taste, knowing that it is going to even probably the poorest of poor on the streets, is a feat which people may not easily appreciate, but I believe they all deserve a standing ovation. Thank you, Team Annamrita. Thank you, Prabhuji. And while we pray that situation never requires, but I am quite sure, God willing, if situation arises, your team will again and again be always there to support. Hare Krishna.
Amazing.
Thank you, Pavani.
Fantastic, Prabhuji. It was.
Over to you.
Yes, well, it was very, very nice to see. The work that you're doing is so noble, and as even the gentleman from Rotary mentioned, that to motivate people in general, not just in these challenging times, is such a task. So how do you drive people right from those who volunteer for Annamrita to those who are associated with Annamrita to those who work at Annamrita? How do you inspire them? How do you make them do what they do? Share some experience with us.
Well, our team consists of like-minded people who have imbibed the values of life by practicing the process of mantra meditation and following a lifestyle and adhering to the tenets of simplicity and purity. This, I can tell you, the team which is working day in and day out, especially the cooks who are directly responsible for cooking. There is an saying that we are what we eat. And it is also a known fact that the consciousness of the person who is cooking the meal enters the meal. Why do you think that a meal cooked by mother is the most tasty and the most nutritious meal and the most satisfying meal? Because she has put her love in the meal while she's cooking. So similarly, our staff is motivated to do the best, and they understand one thing very clearly, that we have been given these grains and the ingredients. These are not manufactured in any factory, no Tata Birla can make it. It is given only by the mercy of the Lord. Right? So these ingredients which have been given to us by the mercy of the Lord, when they are cooked in the consciousness of offering it to Him, so the process of cooking itself becomes a service where we thank the Lord for having given us these ingredients. And then when that food is distributed and consumed, it automatically includes the mercy of the Lord. So that mercy, when it is distributed, it instills in us the goodness of God. See, if you offer a meal to a patient who is having tuberculosis, if some food is left in that plate, I don't think anybody will have the courage of eating from that, lest he also be infected. So similarly, when we offered it to God, we will be infected by His goodness. With this consciousness, and by understanding one thing, let us come to one basic understanding, that there is and there can be only one God. We may call Him by different names. Yeah? There is a sun shining in the sky. I may call Him sun. Somebody else may call Him Surya. A third person may call Him Aftab. We are all referring to the same body, to that globe. Similarly, there is and there can be only one God, and no matter by what name we call Him, we are referring to that same person. Now, this person is the creator of everything that we see around us. Are you with me?
Absolutely.
So, person who has created something, he automatically becomes a proprietor of that thing. It belongs to him. It is his property. Yes.
Yes.
And if he is the proprietor, who should be the enjoyer?
Him.
If you are the proprietor of your flat, who should be living in it? You or someone else? You should be enjoying that flat, right?
Yes. Yes.
So God the Creator is the proprietor and should also be the enjoyer. So if whatever we do in life, we do it for His pleasure, to please Him. Let us take an example of a tree, a plant. It has leaves, branches, flowers, fruits. Now they all need nourishment. How does a gardener give nourishment to them? Does he spray separately on the branch, separately on the leaf, separately on the flower? No. He waters the root. And from that root, automatically, the entire plant receives the nourishment. So if we water the root of this entire creation and we do everything for the pleasure of God, automatically all of us will also become very, very satisfied. This is the philosophy with which our people work.
Wow. That's so interesting to learn, and that's so much learning for all of us listening on this platform. Thank you so much for explaining that to us, Prabhuji, in such a great manner. I know that, Anamrita is live and it's growing all the time, and I know that for you there is lots more to do. So how are you looking to grow this organization to reach every school child or every health worker in the country?
Let me tell you one thing. The day on which I started this feeding 900 students,
Yes.
never in my dream did I think that I will one day reach 12 lakhs meals per day. And believe me, I didn't do it. It happened. All I did was I let it happen by becoming an instrument in His hands. Similarly, whatever is in store for us in the future, we will, from our side, do it with our wholehearted sincerity and efforts. And tell you, Chetan, we are not into the number game.
Of course.
Yeah. We want to do what we are doing to the best of ability. That is our motto. We want to give them the best. Of course, given the opportunity, we will give the best to as many as we are asked to provide for.
Amazing. And Dr. Raj, my next question is kind of related to something that you just mentioned about giving the best, and even the gentleman from the Rotary said that what you're providing, the quality of khichdi that you are providing, is something that even the taste and quality many caterers are unable to match. And part of it is obviously you said the reverence and the consciousness. So tell us more about the quality of this khichdi that Anamrita produces, which is unmatched.
Yeah. So part of it I have already touched upon.
Yes.
So in addition to the nutritional contents and the hygiene and all, as I already explained, the consciousness is the most important ingredient, the consciousness of love that goes into that khichdi. That is why this khichdi is very special and it tastes very special.
I hope to taste it someday. It is also amazing to see, Dr. Das, that your family is now involved with the organization. We are very lucky and privileged again to have your wife, Dr. Palika Ji Das, with us, and your daughter. But before we ask your wife a question, we'd like you to make a few comments on how your family is supporting and helping you.
Yudhishthir was asked this question. He was asked, who is your best companion? And he said that for a grihastha, the wife is the best companion to the man. And obviously, vice versa. So Palika Mataji has always stood by my side from day one when we took to this process. In fact, let me tell you a small secret. And now it will become public. She was not very keen. Can you imagine? She married a dentist. She married a dentist who had his own flat. She married a dentist who had his own car. And she married a dentist who had a roaring practice. And then one day when this dentist decides to give all that up, what do you think is she going to feel like? Like any other normal person or a normal wife. Initially, she had reservations. But I had made up my mind that I will not take to this until and unless she also joins me. That was my determination. I said, only when she is convinced and she comes wholeheartedly into this with me, shall we both enter into this together. So here we are today. We just celebrated our 41st wedding anniversary 3 days back.
Wow.
And this is Palika Mataji.
So, Palika Mataji, thank you for joining us. I'm sure it must have been amazing to see firsthand all the great work that Dr. Das has done over the years. So, tell us something about this. How have you supported him, and what has it been like to see him do what he does?
By the way, she is a woman of few words. Huh?
I'm really happy that he's doing a very good job, very good service. He's feeding the needed people, and hope I'll help each and every step whenever he needs me.
Amazing. Thank you for supporting him and
that was the longest speech she has ever given.
So, Dr. Das, even your daughter is here with us. Madhurya is also involved with the foundation. She does fundraising for you. To her, I'd like to ask her, how does it, how are you inspired from what your father has done, and what are you doing to take the legacy forward? And how can young people get inspired to do these noble causes and experience the joy of doing things like this?
Chetan, can I come in for a minute here?
Please, sir.
So, when I decided to take that one bold step, My daughter was 4 years old. She was a student at that time of Jamnabai High School. And suddenly, I am asked to go to the US. Obviously, I will go with my family. So we lock our flat, sell my car, wind up everything. And of course, Madhurya, who was 4 at that time, came along with me, and we went to the US. We went and performed our services there, not having any botheration about her education or what will happen to the future, because we were very, very confident and sure that whatever happens is for the best. As I told you, he has brought me to this. He will see me through this. And look how he saw, right? Today, she is a happily married person with a 9-year-old son. And my son-in-law, Rishi, the two of them, they went to the US, they stayed there for 10 years. And when their son, Nandakumar, turned 5, they decided to come back to India. In their own way, they have performed a huge sacrifice. Rishi gave up his lucrative job and he decided to come back to India only with one goal in mind, because they wanted their son Nandakumar to get the culture of India and not be left there to imbibe the culture of the West. So here we are. Madhurya, what would you like to say? Rishi, what would you like to add? And of course, Nandakumar can say something if he wishes.
Thank you so much, Chetan, for having us here on this event. It's really been very kind of you.
Only our privilege.
And what I would like to say is, I think it's the culture of every family that really matters while you're being raised. And my upbringing was no different. The culture of our family was always doing things together. It's not like it's your assignment and my assignment and mom's assignment is different. Whoever took up any kind of project, all of us would get involved, at all different levels. So it's like the various things that I have been doing since my childhood is always, with my parents. And there's so much learning that has happened on every level, living in a so-called public place and interacting with such a variety of people. And when Anamrit happened, right, nobody knew it's going to be so big and so structured, 15 years down the line. So when it really began, it was all like just things happening at home over dinner. Like, how do we do about this? How should we, take this forward? Whom all should we reach out to? How do we get money for this? And in 2003 was when I had just gotten married. So when, all these things were going on, I was at my in-laws' place, and then we had no money for the first kitchen. So I would go in the society door to door saying, hey, my father has this idea of starting a kitchen, but we have no money. Would you like to help? So over the years, what I actually would like to call myself is I'm a friend raiser for Anamrit Foundation, because I really believe that if you have friends, then the funds will just pour in, because the work that you're doing is so genuine. And as a child, honestly, the word inspiration doesn't make sense. But today, when I look back, clearly my parents have been my inspiration. They've always given me so much of love that for the reciprocation with their love is for me to assist them in what their inspiration and their heart, wherever their heart is, that's where I feel that if I, help or do some kind of addition in that area, then that will be my reciprocation of the love that they've showered on me. So that's really...
Hi. As a child, I remember reading few poems, and one of the favorite poems was Psalm of Life by William Wordsworth. And the last few lines were, lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. So all we got to do is follow the footprints of the great soul. Just as Radhakrishna Prabhuji was mentioning that Srila Prabhupada saw few children fighting for rotis with dogs, and he just gave one simple instruction, which was, of course, it's a lifetime opportunity to follow that instruction. So he started this humble project, and similarly, this is what we are trying to do. And with all the strong support and all the intelligence that we have in the form of Radhakrishna Prabhuji, who's able to guide us also easily, we are having this opportunity where we can take it forward much more.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to have you on our platform.
Thank you.
And to the young man, hi.
When Nandakumar was, sorry, I just want to add one thing. When Nandakumar was asked in his speech and drama classes that he attends, he was asked to write an essay and speak about an important person or an inspiring person or a great personality. So he chose to speak on his Nanaji. So he made a whole presentation to the Trinity School of College in London, and they came and they heard him speak on Annamrit Foundation and how his Nanaji had started and did all of this work. So,
awesome. Thank you so much. Dr. Das, amazing that you're inspiring everyone around you, and hopefully people on this platform will also get inspired to partner with and to contribute to Annamrit. Two questions for you before we, open the questions up for our listeners and wind up our session today. You have the reputation and the ability to get things done. You've done such amazing things with Annamrit and, achieved what few people can even dream of. Give us a message of how can we get ourselves to, how can we inspire ourselves, and how can we as individuals or companies get involved with the Annamrit Foundation?
So, my only qualification is that I happen to be at the right place, at the right time, with the right kind of people. And things happen. Providence puts me in that place. And of course, as I said, I have a very simple way of working. I do not do anything, but I get things done. I empower my people and give them an opportunity to bring out their best. And in that, I also remind them that ultimately all intelligence ability comes from God. And He is giving that opportunity to everyone. But that opportunity can be grabbed by only a person who wants to take that opportunity. One small story again. 5 people were walking and they fell into a dry well. Some people came and they threw a rope with an intention to save them and pull them up. Can you tell me who will be saved?
The one who grabs the opportunity first.
Exactly. The one who grabs the rope. So, opportunity from God is available to each and every one of us. But it depends who is going to grab it. It is available. It is available to individuals. It is available to corporates. It is available to all. We have to become proactive and decide for ourselves on how we can help. And in case you need any help, you can contact the members of the Pavitra team and they will tell you how you can become our partners and help us in this project.
We are grateful for that opportunity to partner with you, Prabhuji, on Pavitra. And as Prabhuji mentioned, if anybody would like to get associated, please connect with us. We will put you in the right direction. A couple of questions, Prabhuji, coming up on the chat box before we end our session for the day. One of the questions is, how do you manage variety in the kitchen? I don't know whether there is variety, but I know there is sort of obviously quality and great, control there.
Yes.
So what's the comment?
You will be surprised.
What is-
Within the limitation of cooking a single pot meal,
Right.
and within the limitation of the cost and the limitation of logistics, we have a lot of variety. Different kinds of lentils and dals can be combined with different types of vegetables, seasonal, and by giving them a different flavor by adding different spices. So this is a wonderful, of course, ultimately it is all khichdi, but within khichdi also there are many varieties.
Great. Another gentleman asked, how can we get involved? I think Dr. Das had answered that question, that you can connect with us at Pavitra through our social media channels or our email, pavitraventures@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get you connected and get involved with this unbelievable work that is being done. And Dr. Das, I don't see any more questions. I wanted to thank you and your family for gracing us and being with us on our platform. It is truly inspiring to even have the opportunity to speak to somebody like yourself who's doing such unbelievable things. So have a Pavitra evening, Dr. Das. Thank you and your family for joining us. And to all our listeners on the Pavitra platform, have a great evening, have a Pavitra evening. Stay in touch with us and let us do good together.
Thank you, Chetan, and thanks to the audience for bearing with us. Thanks to the Pavitra family. Hare Krishna.
Have a Pavitra evening. Bye-bye.